Shalom. Let me get straight into this lesson. I'm gonna get into two videos, very short. But I'm gonna go into some information dealing, with the so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Americans, particularly on the Southern Kingdom in this video. And you see the gross darkness and the ignorance that's on Jake. And when I say Jake, I'm talking about so-called Black people, Hispanic and Native Americans. That's including the 12 tribes of Israel. But in particular, the Southern Kingdom will mix up Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. And I'm going to play two of these videos, and you're just going to see the stupidity. That's why you got to be thankful, brothers and sisters, that you get it. These people in gross darkness, and they're not coming out of it unless the Lord, sanctioned for them to come out of it, unless they're part of the elect of the nation of Israel. And I'm going to show you this confusion. Christianity is nothing but confusion. The water Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua, that he pulled me out of it, and you other brothers and you sisters. Because it's madness, it's a cancer that has plagued Jake's mind. And just watch this video.
I repented so fast. I confessed Jesus so fast. I say, man, I was a fool. I'm in Atlanta.
And Jake got the zeal, they got a passion, but are not according to knowledge. And that's dangerous when you don't have when you're not knowledgeable about something. It can cost you your life. You know what I'm saying? Just say you're working at a job and you don't know the ins and outs of a very dangerous job. It can, one mistake, one miscalculation can cost you your life. And our people don't get how deadly serious it is to not be in ignorance. They don't get it. Play more of this. So he's saying the name Jivas, but he got a cap on and say Yeshua. Totally confusion.
My homie got set up. He got shot. He called his mom and he say, "Mom, I'm dying. I just got shot. I'm sorry." She say, "If you gonna die, call on Jesus. Call on Jesus, boy. You better call on Jesus." We pull up to the scene. He pronounced dead. They had to track his phone. He was dead in the dirt. We get to the hospital. He back into his body. The doctors were so in disbelief that they ran out his room because they couldn't believe that he was back into his body. But as I'm sitting in front of this man, Jesus is real. Jesus is real.
What is he talking about when he say that? I'm gonna show you. The Spirit showed me something too when I was putting together this lesson. I'm gonna show you something that it happened by mistake, but I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna get into this next video, this next folly, and then I'm gonna get into this lesson, back into this situation right here. Let me get into the next video. 1 second. All right, let's get into this video. So this, I forget her name, but she Tony Braxton's sister. I can't think of Tamar Braxton. We don't keep up with these celebrities like that, but check this folly out.
I'll call you back. I'm about to have Bible study.
Why?
Because I'm saved. And I read.
And you see that, this and social media has really showed you, the demonic spirits on Jake. Now, why would you even record something like this? And you Christians will say that you saved. And I want to challenge you on this question. With a question, rather. Saved from what? What are you saved from? Because you have a Christian that go do a water baptism in a demonic Christian church. And then they'll say on December 11th, 1988, that's the day I was saved. Saved from what? And you have some bug outs that say saved from hell. Hell don't exist. So try again. You Christians are, man, you a real nuisance. And the ignorance that, pulsate out of a Christian is unreal. But check more of this out.
Read the word. Because it's important to know the word. How we gonna battle all these demons and witchcraft? How else you gonna do it?
There are other books.
Girl, get off of my phone, girlfriend. Get off of my phone. I'll call you back.
I mean, that book was written by racist white
Girl, goodbye, girl. I'll call you in an hour.
And you heard what she said. Tony Braxton, I'm assuming that she's talking to, said the book was written by racist white men. You see how stupid, but you'll tell these jakes that it was written by so-called black men that they descend from. They have no knowledge of this because the images they saw as a child, been through the all the images, the movies, the iconography, iconography, iconograph, Salakia. The images, the documentaries, the portraits, the paintings, the books, it's all been so-called white men. So out of our people ignorance, they associate that with the Bible being a so-called white man book because they lack of understanding their ignorance. And this second video actually vexed me a lot. So let's get into this lesson. And it's crazy. I'm gonna show you what I'm talking about. And this happened by mistake. So when I was putting this lesson together, these two shots came up together. As you minimize the screen to go to another screen, this showed up like this. And I was like, that's heavy. So I'm gonna break this down. What I interpret this to be through the Spirit, that the Spirit want me to bring out in this lesson. So this guy here, right here, this guy, he completely bugged. I think he's a prankster. He was a prankster, pranking, doing folly on YouTube. Now he's so-called gave his life to God, right? You know how that go. Now he holy rolling, right? But if you look at this, like the way I interpret this right here, is his mind, right? When you look on top of his hat, this image of so-called white Jesus sits on top. So that sits in our people's mind, if you can understand, kind of follow what I'm doing. So in on top of his head, you remember like the cartoons. I'm trying to give you a analogy. Let me show you something real quick. So this is something kind of close to what I'm saying. If you go here and look at this, like the cartoons that we grew up on, it would be like you saw that light bulb is on top of his head, like he got an idea, but sometimes it'll be different images right there. It'll be different things. So to tie this in to make it make sense. 1 second, Salakia. So the Spirit want me to break it down this way, right? So that light bulb that you saw in that animation is the same thing on top. This is what people see in their mind. So as he got the hat that said Yeshua, which that ain't the Messiah name, his name Yahweh Shah, as he mutilated his face with them tattoos. You know what I'm saying? And in his mind, that's what he see. So as Jake, and this most of our people, they kind of give you a visual so you can understand what you're dealing with when you deal with our people. When they say their J name, when they say that J name, this image comes up that's on top of, on top of this other image, right? That's what's in his mind. And that's most of the people in this world, when they say the J name, when they talk about Christ is King, that, these Christians will say all these different catchphrases, these punchlines, I call them. This is the image that they see in their mind. This represents that. So that's heavy right there. So this guy too, you know what I'm saying? Let me go back here. So you Christians will say Christ is King. You'll see that sprinkled on these coming boards and just in random places. You'll see this figure of speech, Christ is King. So like you're right here. And what they saying, when they say this is who they imagine. I'm gonna go back to this example. Go back here. So when they say Christ is King, in their mind, you remember there's like a representation of that light bulb, right? On top in their mind, this is the face that they see. This is the personality that they see. This is the character that they see. This is the likeness that they see. You see how deep this goes? Let me go back. Or when they'll say Jesus love everybody, or they'll go through these different, like I said, it's a slew of these Christian punchlines that they like to say. But a lot of Edomites in particular say this, and they have it on their T-shirt, they have it on their bumper sticker, they have it, wherever. They have this phrase, Christ is King. But what's coming up in their mind is an idol that I just showed you. Let's go here. So this Christianity is a hell of a drug. So this is when I went to the museum. I went to a museum maybe a year and a half ago. I'm going to read this, kind of jumping around. It says, these West Indies natives were offered the opportunity to convert to Christianity. And when they refused, they were mercilessly burned to death. That's heavy. Bet you didn't know this information. So the version of Christianity that our people believe in comes with this image right here in their mind, right? And it comes with all these different false doctrines that they've been taught in modern day Christianity. When you go to the hell doctrine, you go to the Adam and Eve doctrine, you go to all these different, they say Satan's name is Lucifer. All that is false. But that's what our people have been taught through this Christianity right here. This right here. These West Indies natives were first offered the opportunity to convert to Christianity. What Christianity is this? This Christianity, right? It comes with that image. That's the building block. And when they refused, they were mercilessly burned to death. Let's go here. It says doctrine of discovery versus unceded land, unsettled land. It says European colonists, which that means Edomite, arriving, Slovakia, arriving in this part of the world proceeded to steal the land from indigenous people. Indigenous meaning people that was already here, which was the Northern Kingdom, Israelites. People using the pretext that they had discovered a new land. You can't discover something when people are already there. But again, this would be that style of Christianity will be labeled Christianity, but it's under so-called white supremacy. The doctrine of discovery was used to dehumanize, exploit, and subjugate indigenous peoples and dispossesses them of their most basic right. This resulted in policies and practices based on advocating superiority of peoples or individuals on the basis of national origin or racial, religious, ethnic, or cultural differences. It says the map you see here chronicles the exportation of indigenous lands from 1784 through 1897. Treaties made during this period were often broken. The so-called white man don't keep his word. Resulted in further land grabs by settlers. These were devils, so-called white people. They call them settlers to use a nice terminology to not make it sound as bad. While this map pertains to the United States, similar scenarios occurred throughout the hemisphere, all everywhere they went. It says our exhibit timeline provides more detailed information. Indigenous people have asked for their land back. In very few cases, they reached this goal. Indigenous people call all this unceded land or stolen land. And I'm surprised when I went to this museum that they had this here. It's a museum that I went in, they actually had an exhibit about ancient Egypt. And I went in there just taking pictures, doing research, so on and so forth. But it's that land grab right here. But with this land grab, they brought Christianity with it. And that's what you see our people into today. And it's different forms of it, but it's the same folly. It's nonsense. It's these sayings. It's what they do. It's what they don't understand. It's what they believe in. They'll be corrected and still double down on their madness. Let's go here. So Christ is King is just some more folly that you Christians say that means nothing. Let's go here. I want to get this Proverbs 2 and 1. Let me go. Matter of fact, I'm not going to have enough time. Let me get straight to the point. Proverbs 2 and 5. Then shalt thou understand the fear of Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua and find the knowledge of Yahweh. It says, for the Lord Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua giveth wisdom out of his mouth, cometh knowledge and understanding. That's what it's all about, knowledge and understanding. If you're in ignorance, you're in lies, you're into folly, right? So I'm showing you this is what these people see in their mind when they start saying the J name or Christ, this any kind of other madness. He's all confused right here. Jake is a lost cause. That's why this doctrine and the understanding of this doctrine is only for the elect of the nation of Israel. Consider yourself really blessed, man. I say that a lot because it's just the truth. Because you could be like this into more confusion. because Christianity got so many different webs they can trap you with. Right? Hopefully this lesson was edifying. Call Halal Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Bahashim, Rachat Kodash. Shalom.